All right, let's dive into some ancient Chinese medicine wisdom with this deep dive.
Sounds good.
Specifically, we are looking at Chapter 68, Basic Question, from the Yellow Emperor's Classic of Internal Medicine.
Right.
And this is really as foundational as it gets when it comes to Chinese medicine.
It is, yeah.
For anyone listening who's interested in this, I think you're really going to enjoy this deep dive because we're going to be exploring cycles and elements and all sorts of stuff about how this ancient text connects heaven and earth and human health.
Yeah, and it all starts with Qi.
Right.
That's really what it comes down to.
And for anyone listening who's not super familiar with Chinese medicine, Qi is that like vital life force energy that flows through all living things.
Yeah.
So this text, it's also known as the Huangdi Neijing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a master class in understanding how that Qi flows.
Yeah, it really is.
I like how it's structured as this dialogue
Mm-hmm.
between the Yellow Emperor and his advisor, Qibo. It's like we're eavesdropping on this conversation from thousands of years ago.
I know, it's kind of amazing.
And one of the first things that they jump into is this concept of Liu.Ze Qi.
Yes.
Which is the sixfold rhythm of Qi.
Yeah, it's not just this vague idea of energy, it's very specific.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there's an order to it.
So there are 6 distinct stages that this Qi flows through.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it moves through these 6 divisions: Xiaoyang, Yangming, Taiyang, Shuayin, Shaoyin, and Taiyin.
Whoa, those are some...
Yeah, they're a mouthful, I know.
Yeah, they're definitely a mouthful.
You can almost think about it like a cosmic clock.
Okay.
Constantly ticking with the Qi flowing through each division in a specific order.
So it's not just random.
No, not at all.
It's very ordered.
Very ordered, very precise.
Okay, so how does this actually... how does this play out in our bodies? What's the practical application of this?
Well, each of those divisions actually relates to different organs and seasons, even emotions.
Oh, wow. So it's not just some, abstract concept.
No,
It's very real world.
Yeah, it's really tied to our physical experience.
Exactly.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, and the text really emphasizes that aligning ourselves with this sixfold rhythm is essential for maintaining balance and health in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there's this one line that I really love in the text.
Okay.
It says, "Adhere to the order of heaven, align with the times of waxing and waning, shift light to its proper position, stand upright, and await its arrival."
That's beautiful.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah, it's very poetic.
I know.
You know, it makes me think about how important timing is in Chinese medicine.
Absolutely.
Not just in terms of when we eat or sleep, but in a much larger cosmic sense.
Exactly. It's all connected.
And the text goes on to talk about this, I guess it's a model.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Roots Manifest Branch model.
Right.
To explain how Qi operates on different levels.
Yeah, it's a way of understanding how energy flows through the body.
Okay, so how does that work? Break that down for me.
So imagine a tree.
The roots of the tree are the deepest level.
Mm.
That's like our root Qi, our source of vitality.
Okay.
Then you have the trunk.
Mm-hmm.
The trunk is like the manifest level, so this is where things start to become noticeable when there are imbalances.
Okay.
And then the branches are the symptoms that we experience. And like leaves on the tree.
The symptoms are what we see, but the root of the problem could be much deeper.
Exactly. It's like the tip of the iceberg, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why in Chinese medicine, it's so important to address the root cause rather than just masking symptoms.
Right. So it's not just about
putting a Band-Aid on things.
Yeah, it's about really going to the source of the problem.
Exactly. And that's what this Roots Manifest Branches model helps us to understand.
And this model also gives practitioners a framework for understanding how those imbalances move through the body and how to address them.
It's a whole system.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating.
So we've got the sixfold rhythm, we've got the Roots Manifest Branches model.
Mm-hmm.
And then the text also talks about how the timing of Qi's arrival can indicate whether or not things are in harmony.
Yeah, it's like a train arriving at the station.
Okay.
If it's on time, everything's good.
Yeah.
But if it's delayed or early, it throws the whole system off.
So if it's delayed,
that means there's not enough Qi.
There's not enough Qi. And if it's early,
that means there's too much.
Too much Qi. And neither of those are good.
Right. And the text uses specific terms for this.
Okay.
So there's He for harmonious.
Okay.
Ujiji for insufficient. And You for excessive.
And it really stresses how important it is to maintain that harmony, right?
Oh, absolutely. The text is very clear.
Okay.
It says misalignment leads to transformation, and transformation leads to illness.
Wow. It's powerful.
Yeah, it's powerful. So to understand how this harmony works, we need to kind of zoom out
Right.
and look at how the 6 cycles of heavenly chi map onto earthly geography.
It's like a giant map of energy.
Oh, okay, so tell me about this cosmic map. How does it work? Well, the text describes Junho, which translates to sovereign fire,
Okay.
and Xiangwo, which is ministerial fire.
Okay.
And it also describes the positions of the 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water.
So we've got fire, we've got elements.
It's a whole universe.
It's like a recipe for a pretty exciting universe.
I know, it's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, it is. So what does all this tell us?
Well, it shows us that these energies aren't just floating around randomly.
Oh.
They have specific patterns and locations.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, we're part of this web of energy.
Yeah, so where we are geographically, the time of year, the time of day.
All of that can impact our chi and influence our health.
Wow.
And the text distinguishes between righteous chi, or zheng, which is aligned, and pathogenic chi, or zi, which is misaligned.
So righteous key is like the good stuff.
It's what keeps us healthy.
Okay.
And pathogenic chi is the troublemaker.
That throws things out of whack.
Exactly.
And the text says that even being in the right place at the right time can influence how severe an illness is.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So like if you're exposed to a cold wind and your key is aligned, you might not even get sick.
Right.
But if it's misaligned,
Then you're more susceptible.
you're more likely to catch a cold.
Exactly.
So it's like our location and our alignment can actually impact our resilience.
It's all connected.
It's all connected. That's amazing.
And that brings us to 2 really important concepts. Sui, .hui, which is yearly convergence, and Tian.hu, which is heavenly alignment.
Okay, tell me about those.
Well, yearly convergence refers to specific times when the chi of the year aligns with its corresponding position.
So it's like a cosmic calendar.
Yeah, you can think about it that way.
Okay.
Each year has its own unique energy signature.
So that's why some years are bad flu years, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
And it also connects to the Chinese zodiac,
Right.
because each year is associated with a particular animal and element.
So each year has its own personality almost.
Exactly. And then heavenly alignment is even more significant because it refers to a larger cosmic order.
Right.
And when pathogenic chi disrupts that order, the consequences can be much more severe.
So it's not just about syncing up with the year's energy. It's about aligning with this larger cosmic blueprint.
Exactly.
Wow, that's a lot to take in.
I know, it's pretty profound.
It really is.
But it all comes down to this idea that heaven, earth, and humanity are all interconnected.
I'm seeing that, yeah.
And understanding that interconnectedness is crucial for maintaining our health and well-being.
This text isn't just about treating illness.
No.
It's like a whole new way of seeing the world.
It is. It's a whole philosophy of life.
And speaking of expanding our understanding, you mentioned this concept of the true sage before.
Oh, yes.
And I'm really curious to hear more about that.
Yeah, it's a fascinating concept.
It sounds almost mythical.
It kind of is.
Yeah, I mean, what does that even mean?
Well, that's what we're going to dive into in the next part of this deep dive.
Okay, so for you listening, hang tight. We'll be back soon to continue this journey into the world of Chinese medicine.
It's going to be a wild ride.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the last part, we were talking about qi and the sixfold rhythm and all that.
Right, yeah.
I'm ready to hear more about that true sage that you mentioned before the break.
Yeah, the Zen.
Then.
Yeah, the Zen. And it sounds kind of mythical, honestly.
Yeah, it definitely captures the imagination.
Yeah, so what does that actually mean in the context of this text?
Well, the Huangdi Neijing describes the true sage as someone who has achieved this, like, profound alignment with the Tao.
Okay, so before we go any further, I think we need to, break down the Tao a little bit.
Yeah, it's one of those words that gets thrown around a lot.
It does.
But it can be a little hard to grasp.
Yeah, what does that even mean in this context?
You're right, it's not a simple concept.
Right.
But you can think of it as, the underlying principle that governs the whole universe.
Okay.
The source of all creation and transformation. So it's like the force behind everything.
Yeah, like the cosmic operating system.
Oh, okay. So the true sage isn't just someone who's really good at acupuncture or something.
Yeah, no.
They've actually tapped into this fundamental force.
Exactly. They've transcended the limitations of ordinary perception and aligned themselves with the flow of the Tao.
Wow. So how does that even work?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Well, the text suggests that this alignment leads to a really deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all things.
Okay, so that makes me think about how the text emphasizes the importance of cycles.
Right.
We talked about the sixfold rhythm of qi.
Mm-hmm.
So does the true sage, escape these cycles somehow?
That's a good question, and the text is pretty clear that transformation and change are like fundamental to the universe.
Okay.
Everything's in constant flux.
Yeah, you can't stop change.
You can't stop it, but the thing is, this process also creates opportunities for pathogenic Qi to arise.
So change is necessary, but it also has this, like, shadow side.
Exactly. It's like a double-edged sword.
So how does the true sage deal with that?
Well, by understanding and aligning with the Tao, they navigate these cycles with a lot more awareness and ease.
So they're not trying to stop the waves, they're learning to surf.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Ride the waves.
Yeah, they've mastered the art of riding the waves of change.
So maybe it's not about, like, resisting change, but learning to move with it in a way that supports our well-being.
Exactly, and that brings us back to that concept of Qi Jiao.
Okay, the intersection of Qi.
Yeah, where heaven, earth, and humanity all meet.
Right, can you remind me why that's so important again?
Well, it's crucial because it's at that point that human Qi aligns with the energies of heaven and earth.
Okay.
And the Huangdi Neijing says that this alignment has a ripple effect, influencing the well-being of all things.
Wow, so our health is actually connected to the health of the whole planet.
That's what the text suggests, yeah.
It's like a two-way street.
Exactly. And this is why things like acupuncture, herbal medicine, mindful living.
It's not just about personal benefit.
No, it's about contributing to the harmony of the whole.
Like, our choices impact not just ourselves, but the whole web of life.
Precisely. And while achieving that state of a true sage might seem really lofty,
Yeah, a little out there.
the principles in this chapter can help us cultivate more balance in our lives.
So it's not about being some enlightened being on a mountaintop.
Right.
It's about making choices in our daily lives that support the flow of Qi.
Exactly, like paying attention to the seasons,
Mm-hmm.
eating good food, managing stress.
Right, like practical things.
Just the little things
Yeah.
that make a big difference.
I love how this text connects those big concepts like the Tao and the True Sage
Right.
to these actual things that we can do to improve our health.
It's that blend of philosophy and practicality that makes this text so powerful.
Yeah, it's not just some abstract theory.
No, it's a guidebook for living.
And even though it's ancient, it feels so relevant to today.
It really does, especially when you think about all the chaos and uncertainty in the world right now.
Right, like we need this wisdom more than ever.
I think so.
It reminds us of the importance of harmony, alignment, cyclical living.
It's like a compass, you know,
Yeah.
guiding us back to our center.
I feel like we've covered so much ground in this deep dive,
We have.
but I also feel like we've just scratched the surface.
There's always more to explore.
Always more to explore. Well, we've got one more segment.
We do.
So let's take a quick break and then come back to wrap up our exploration of this amazing chapter. Okay, so we are back and ready to wrap up
Yeah.
our deep dive into chapter 68.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has. I mean, we've covered so much ground about Qi, cycles, this interconnectedness.
I know it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing, honestly, but it's also, like, really inspiring.
It is.
You know, it gives you this whole new perspective on health and well-being. And I was thinking as we were talking, like, what are some of the big things that you hope people listening will walk away with from this deep dive?
Well, I think the biggest one is that cyclical nature of Qi.
Yeah.
Like everything is in constant flux, you know, our health, the universe. It's
Yeah.
all about embracing those rhythms.
Yeah, like riding the waves, right?
Exactly. Riding the waves of yin and yang, expansion and contraction.
Exactly. And that brings us to that point about harmony and alignment.
Right. Yeah.
Like, so much of what we've talked about is that illness comes from disruption, from Qi being out of sync.
Exactly.
And that's where that roots manifest branches model comes in,
Right.
addressing the root cause.
Yeah, getting to the source of the imbalance.
Exactly. And that's how we restore harmony in the system.
It's like tending a garden.
Okay.
You know, you can't just prune away the wilted leaves.
You got to get to the root.
You got to nourish the roots.
Right, yes.
To create that lasting health and vitality.
Exactly. And, you know, speaking of interconnectedness, another big takeaway for me is just how deeply our health is tied to the health of the planet.
Yeah, absolutely.
That concept of Qi Jiao,
The intersection.
the intersection, it really drives that point home.
It does. You know, we're not these isolated beings.
Right.
We're part of a much larger web.
Yeah. And our choices, they have ripple effects.
They do. They really do.
Far beyond ourselves.
And so aligning our Qi, whether it's through acupuncture or herbal medicine or just like mindful living, it's not just about us.
It's not just about us, yeah.
It's about contributing to that larger harmony.
It's like we're all in this together.
We are.
And, you know, that idea of a true sage, it might seem kind of far out there,
Yeah.
but the principles in this text, they can help us live more balanced, more harmonious lives.
Absolutely, and it starts with those small steps.
Right.
Making those choices each day that support that flow of qi.
Like getting enough sleep, eating good food, managing stress.
It all adds up.
It all adds up, yeah.
It really does.
This deep dive, it's been amazing.
It has. I really enjoyed it.
I have too. And, for everyone listening, I hope this has made you curious about Chinese medicine.
Yeah, I hope it sparks something.
And, there's so much more to learn and explore.
There really is.
Well, I think we're going to wrap it up here. But before we do, I want to leave you with one last thought from the text.
Okay, shoot.
It says, the wise physician treats disease before it arises.
That's a good one.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's all about prevention.
It is. It's about understanding those natural cycles, making those choices that support harmony.
Living in alignment with the world around us.
Exactly.
Wow. This has been an amazing conversation. I feel so much more connected to, everything now.
I know. It's powerful stuff.
It is. Well, until next time, I hope you find balance and harmony and that sense of connection.
Me too. Happy exploring, everyone.
And as always, thanks for tuning in.